Recently, I've had conversations with two different 21-year-olds who sounded like they were crushing it in life, both telling me they felt massively behind and that they were stuck. I never felt this way growing up, but after the age of 30, I started feeling it more, and I realized what the biggest culprit was and the best way to get yourself out of feeling this way. I also had a really good session last night because I got out of my head and into action, which is one of the biggest pieces of advice, but I'll show that after I give my advice. I think the reason I didn't feel it when I was younger, the biggest culprit is social media. I didn't have a million resources telling me what I could achieve. I felt like I was crushing it. I saw 2 or 3 pro skateboarders that I wanted to emulate, and I felt, well, as long as I show up and skate every day, I'm going to be heading in that direction. I will give it my all, and whatever happens is what happens. But as long as I try, I'll be happy with that. What I didn't have was those 3 pro skateboarders and then 1,000 other ones who were crushing it, who were popular on social media, and then 1,000 different ways to get there, and then a million options to scroll through. There was a pretty simple path that I could take, but I was also unique even at my time period for this. I had what I thought was an interesting path that I could pursue. So not only did I have very few inspirations to look at, I also felt pretty cool that I was pursuing something unique to me, and I was clearly showing signs that I was in transition towards that goal. I was always in momentum, but the only thing I had to focus on was the execution of the things that would get me there, showing up every single day and doing the simple task. The reason I felt more lost after the age of 30 is because I was going through the same thing all the kids go through in life. Age is not gonna prevent you from feeling lost in the same way that kids are. The 21-year-old who has social media, I have the same social media feed. So of course it's gonna hit me the exact same way. So age is not even a factor in terms of feeling really strengthened by your convictions. That can alter at any point in life. I can be 60 years old, have a life of conviction, and still lead to a point where I get scrambled when I get a lot of new outlets that come in, which is what social media allows. And only recently, with following a few patterns, have I felt way more aligned the way that I did in the past when I've actually found any version of success. Becoming a pro skateboarder was about having those few inspirations to mirror. Becoming a YouTuber who got 1 million subscribers was based on having 3 or 4 influences that I was chasing and pursuing. Only when things became complicated and there were 1 million people to look at did things become more confusing for me. So from here on out in this video, we are going to be as practical as humanly possible. I am not going to give you advice that's ethereal and sounds good. People are looking nowadays for novelty in the advice they get, something that makes them go, wow, that's such good advice, rather than that's the advice that I can follow right now. So not only am I going to tell you what I think is going to be massively useful in you finding your purpose and being on a path, AKA momentum, which is all life is. If you can find momentum, you have found your purpose. That is the purpose. I'm going to do this with you. So in real time, I am going to do the advice that I would give to you, and this will align you and I. I've already done this in the past, and this is why I don't feel lost or stuck anymore, because I am moving forward. We're gonna put all this in one note. So on my phone, Apple Notes, I'm just gonna title it something inspiring, John Hill 2.0. The first thing we're gonna do is just look to the most inspirational people we can, the 1 to 3 people that if we emulated, we would feel like we're living the most authentic versions of ourselves. You might be thinking, well, isn't me inspiring me the most authentic version of myself? Sure, but the way to find yourself ideally in a world with 1 million options is to try to mirror one path and then to find yourself from that path. Constraints are actually what create the best creativity. Typically when you're trying to create with no constraints at all, you end up not creating anything good. As weird as that sounds, it's just how the world works. So write down the 1 to 3 people that if you were able to follow their path and get to where they are, you'd be happy with your version of what they do. To put it simply, the reason you feel behind is because you feel like we're all on the same path, which just isn't true. Each person has their own individualistic path. And even if you feel like you're not growing in certain ways, you are, based on your nature, based on your nurture. You've always been growing in different ways. So now that you want to try to accomplish the thing that you think your peer is accomplishing, they're 18 years old and they're a millionaire or something ridiculous like that, you feel as if you've had all the same opportunities, the same life, and the same convictions and the same upbringing. You haven't. Your life is completely different. Your cultural upbringing is different. You're not on the same path at all. Can you achieve what they achieve? Superficially speaking, yes, if you want to accomplish the amount of money they make, but your path is going to look different. And ideally, your path is going to be cultivated specifically for your desires and your fulfillment overall. I would almost guarantee that if you got exactly what they got, doing exactly what they did, you wouldn't be happy. You're also consuming too much advice. We're all giving advice from our perspective. This is practical tip number 2, doesn't require any writing. Just remember this. Assume everyone's lying. Almost everyone on social media that I've always seen who talk about money, who show numbers, who show scales, who show growth, all these people are lying. There are even YouTubers who will be like, this is how I grew a channel to 1 million subscribers on a channel with like 5,000 subscribers, and then they'll show stats, and then I never find that channel they're talking about. Assume they're lying. Someone who is really good in shape, as bad as this sounds, assume they're taking steroids. I'm sure they work very hard. Always assume that people are lying on social media. I have found people out there who are some of the most trustworthy, most loved individuals on the platform who lie about most things. And that lie is actually what perpetuated their career and helped them grow. If you ever get trapped in the momentum of comparison, don't comment or say anything on their profile about them lying. Just assume they are. The next step is that we're gonna chase momentum and not the outcome. In my opinion, I think it's okay to have a North Star. So for me, I could write something like, make $100,000 a month doing what I love. Super vague, super superficial. Please have a goal that's less superficial than mine. I'm just trying to write something for the sake of this video because I can't think of anything better. I look at these 3 people on the list, do they all embody that? What's the biggest domino that got these 3 people to get into the position to do that? Making content every single day. That is the thing that these 3 people do the best and the reason that they're getting so much attention. This is the needle moving task. This is the one thing you can implement every single day. All the other stuff of trying to build the perfect productivity, blah, 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 blah. Productivity, the best productivity hack is doing the thing. So if you want to get good at anything you do around the thing is not productivity. It's all just, maybe productivity to get you to do it, but if you need that much effort to get you to do the thing, it's probably not the thing you should be doing. The goal for me is always to find something that I can do consistently without thinking too much about it. So I try not to get on social media at all, because even if I go through Shy Ross, Mark Manson, I'm like, how do I come up with something as quippy as Mark Manson, or do something as bombastic as Shy Ross, or say something as profound and inspirational as Jocko Willink? It's probably not gonna happen. So I can look at their profiles. I think people are better off not looking at anything. I can look at their profiles, find something that they talk about that I think is interesting, and then shut it off, and without seeing what they say about it, write my own version of it. So with this title of the video you're watching now, I saw that a couple people made titles similar. I didn't watch any of them. I have no idea what anyone else said about this subject. I just thought that's an interesting title. Let me give my perspective on it. So where you want to try to get the quickest is to find your authentic voice in the thing that inspires you. So if you have these 3 people who inspire you, where's your voice in getting to where they are? The truth is, for me, walking around, going to a place to work out, going to a place to skate, that's actually where my brain works the best. So my only thing is I need to stay away from a computer as best as I can, unless I film something and then I go to my computer only to edit, only to design clothing, because I am working on Progress Daily clothing. That's it. I only need to be in a coffee shop when I am designing and editing. All thinking and writing, I can do that in my car, I can do it on my phone, I can do it walking out and about. For me, creativity actually comes from nature, and computers stifle that. And from here, simply create a graph on your phone. It already creates 2 columns, that's all you need. In the first column, just write day 1 and the date. Day 1, 8/25/25. If you do the action, put a green check mark. If you don't do the action, put the X. That's it. Did you do the needle moving thing, or did you not? We are not judging the momentum based on the outcome, we're judging it based on the action, the thing that you have control over. Another thing that I do that you don't have to do is I actually take the link from the YouTube channel. So for Jocko Willink, I select YouTube, and then I guess I can just click paste. There you go. I don't have to go through YouTube and get stuck in the funnel of doom scrolling. I can simply just click his name and it brings me right to his channel. And I do this for all the 3 inspirations so that I try to just stay on them. The best thing you can do is just delete social media off your phone. You know enough now to be creative. The more you learn, the less creative you're going to be. So stop learning, stop searching in terms of how to grow. The thing to learn is the practical skill that you're trying to learn, and that also is probably something that comes more from action than more tips. I hope this helps. Enjoy the skateboarding. How is this fair? Look at all these lights behind me shining into the tennis courts. There are 2 lights here on this side, not the ones lit up on the other side of those lights. Same here. There's a button to turn them on, and that's what lights up this skate park. The lights were just on, as you saw. They turned off, so I was like, oh, let me hit the button again. The lights aren't turning on. So they stay up all night for the tennis courts, but they don't stay on for the skateboarders. There's a certain time limit for skateboarders to stop, but not for people playing tennis. I was so excited about the session too. I just waxed everything, I got ready, and it's 9 o'clock now. Now I have to leave. I might just skate in this tennis court. The skate park lights just turned on again. Oh my gosh. I forget that the shadows at night really affect my skating.